president. And the reality is that in some people's minds, the greatness of a church is determined by the people who attend there. In some people's minds, the greatness of a church is determined by how many important people go there. For instance, every time a new president is elected, just about every church in Washington, D.C. falls all over themselves in the hope that the president and his family will worship in their church. For instance, if you go in New York Avenue Presbyterian Church in Washington, D.C. today, right away they'll point out to you that that was the church that Abraham Lincoln worshipped in, and they'll show you the pew where he sat. Or First Baptist Church was where the Carter family went, or Foundry United Methodist is where the Clintons attended. Or here in Pittsburgh, some people look at East Liberty Presbyterian Church as being great because that is where the Mellon family went. Or some people think that Fox Chapel Presbyterian Church is great because that's where Bill Cowher went when he was coaching the Steelers. But Jesus looks at us and asks, is that what makes a church great? Is a church great if it's made up of a lot of important people? And so, to help us understand what greatness truly means, Jesus took and welcomed a small child into the midst of his disciples. Now, we need to understand that in doing that, Jesus was doing a very shocking thing. Because especially back in ancient times, children were nobodies. Children had no legal rights, no legal protections. If a father wanted to, at any time, he could take any of his children and have them sold or even killed if he wanted to. And there was nothing that the child or anyone else could do about it. Or when a child was born, if a father decided he didn't want that child, he could just take the child and leave it out on the street and walk away, leaving it to die there. Or for some stranger to come along and take it and in turn sell it into slavery. In fact, when a child was born in ancient days, right away the child was brought and laid down at the father's feet. And only if the father took the child up into his arms was that the sign that the father was accepting responsibility for the child and promising to love and care for it. And so here in the Gospel of Mark, when Jesus welcomed that child into their midst, when Jesus took that nobody and took that child into his arms, he was showing his disciples what greatness truly means. That greatness means being willing to reach out and help others, even those whom other people might think of as being nobodies, as being worthless. That greatness is not about focusing on what other people can do for us, but instead focusing on what we can do for others, what we can do to serve other people. Are you great? Do you want to be great? The good news, Jesus says, is that you can be great. We can all be great. And we achieve that greatness not by trying to lift ourselves up and by trying to push everyone else down. Rather, we achieve greatness by reaching out and lifting up those around us. And if we do that, Jesus says, in time, God will lift us up. Let us pray. God and Father of us all, you have willed that the last will be first. Give us that wisdom that is from above, so that we might understand that in your sight